You all set, Allison?
I'm live.
Go ahead.
Morning, everyone. My name's Kyle Johnson. I'm one of the stallion grooms here at Claiborne Farm. Today we're going to go through our Marchmont cemetery, which is one of our several farms here on the property. This one is predominantly brood mares, but we do have some of our stallions of days past here on the property as well. But if you want to follow me, we'll go ahead and get started on some of these mares. So in the cemetery here, mostly our brood mares are on the right hand side and most of the stallions are here on the left hand side. Now with our mares, our first and foremost one I want to start with here is Tuerta. Now Tuerta is a rather special mare. She's a daughter of Forley. She is also the brood mare of our only Kentucky Derby winner that the farm has ever owned in Swale, who won the Kentucky Derby and Belmont Stakes in 1984 prior to his unfortunate passing there a week after. Alongside Tuerta we have Thong. Thong is also a full sister to Moccasin here. Now these two daughters are daughters of a rather important imported mare by the name of Roughshod. Now these two mares here, Moccasin was champion 2-year-old filly and also co-horse of the year. She is the only 2-year-old filly to ever be named horse of the year in 1965. But Thong, she was the dam of a special mare, fittingly named Special here on the farm, which we'll see her later on in the tour. Now alongside of these girls here, we also have File down the line here. Now File, she is a daughter of Tom Rolfe, who is one of our former stallions here as well. She is making her a half sibling to another mare I previously mentioned, Tuerta. Now File is most noted for being the dam of 49er, one of our prominent stallions, and he's still alive today over in Japan at the age of 35 years old. He is a son of Mr. Prospector. And then alongside File, we have State here. Now you guys may have heard recently in Preach passing away. This is Preach's second dam, making her the dam of Narrate, who is also buried here in this cemetery, just in the row behind. And we'll make our way on back through some of these other headstones as well.
And everybody that's tuning in, if you've got any questions or comments along the way, feel free to leave them in the comments section, and Kyle will answer any questions that you all may have.
So this second headstone in here, this is Steel Maiden. She's the third dam of our Kentucky Derby winner Orb, who resides here on the farm. She is out of a half sister, or 3/4 sister I should say, to Ruffian, the immortal filly there. And then moving further down, another Phipps family here in Heavenly Prize. Heavenly Prize, she finished or placed in all 3 of her Breeders' Cup campaigns. She finished second in her Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, and also back-to-back years finished second in the Breeders' Cup Distaff as well. Now, following her phenomenal racing career, she went on to be a promising broodmare for us here as well. She is the dam of Pure Prize. Now, Pure Prize recently had a Breeders' Cup Distaff winner in Blue Prize who won this previous year. And then here's a headstone that probably needs no introduction, the immortal Personal Ensign. Undefeated in her racing career, 13 for 13 career races, won the Breeders' Cup Distaff, and started the only 3-generational matriarch to win Breeders' Cup races. All 3 of those mares are buried here in this cemetery. Her daughter, who carried on that legacy, My Flag, is buried right behind her next to this tree here. Now, My Flag was a daughter of one of our top stallions, Easy Goer, who won the 1989 Belmont Stakes and spoiled the Triple Crown that year. Now, My Flag went on to have a daughter by the name of Storm Flag Flying, who's in the very row behind up in the corner here. Now, Storm Flag Flying, she was a daughter of Stormcat and won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies in 2002 before retiring here to a promising broodmare career as well. And then, as I mentioned before, Narrate here. Narrate, the dam of Preach and also Yarn. Pedigree you see carried throughout, Triple Crown winner Justify in these previous years. And then alongside her you have Test Stakes winner Blighty here, another Phipps family horse here as well. And then alongside of her we have Wild Applause here. Wild Applause, her influence has really resonated here these past 3 decades. She was bought out of the Keeneland November sale. She's a daughter of Northern Dancer. She was bought out of that sale in 1992, carrying in foal to a horse with Roar there. Now Roar went on to become the broodmare sire of Rachel Alexandra, who's 2009 Horse of the Year. Wild Applause is also the dam of Praise Yell, who's buried here in this final row back there, and also Hit as well, some of our broodmares here that reside on the property to this day. And then making our way back here, Lady Liberty. Now Lady Liberty, she is a daughter of Unbridled, one of our stallions here. Lady Liberty is also the mother or first dam of Kentucky Derby winner Orb, who won in 2013. Now Lady Liberty, being in that female family, she traces back through the female family of Ruffian as well, back to Shenanigans. Alongside of her we have Heat Lightning. Now Heat Lightning is the dam of Stevie Wonder Boy and also one of our mares here by the name of Thaskin's Theory. Now Heat Lightning, as you can see, she was buried here in 2016, but her daughter Thaskin's Theory still resides here on the property today. And then, as I mentioned before, Storm Flag Flying. You have her buried alongside of her first dam and behind her second dam here with Personal Ensign.
Kyle, one of our viewers was asking, do you know how the headstones are cleaned?
The headstones here, usually they get a good scrubbing down, usually with brush and a little bit of soap here and there, mostly to keep some of the moss off. Now some of these headstones have some age on them, as you can see with these ones. These are some of our relatively new ones, so they only have a little bit of the moss, but some of them, even with all the upkeep we do take on them, they do show some of their age, which you'll see on some of these headstones further on down. And then back here in this final row, we have inside information, a daughter of Pure Profit by the sire Private Account. Now, inside information, she was a Breeders' Cup winner in her own right, winning in 1995, was also champion female horse that year as well. Alongside of her, Starry Dreamer. Now, Starry Dreamer, she's the broodmare of both Teammate and our top stallion and international superstar Warfront. Now, Starry Dreamer, she was a gray mare. She was a daughter of Rubiano. Now, her female family also goes back through Forley as well. So Starry Dreamer, she really carried on that legacy quite well, and her son Warfront is doing a phenomenal job carrying that on today, being one of the top stallions in all the world now. And then moving further down the row here, we have Yell. I may have mentioned her before. She is a daughter of Wild Applause, making her a half-sibling to Praise here on the farm. She is also the second dam of both Elate, one of our newest broodmares here in the ranks, and also in Jim Dandy winner Tax as well, who was born and raised here at Claiborne before going on to his racing career. Now we're going to go on to the other side here, down a little bit further to see some of our other broodmares. These are some of our older burials here as well.
Kyle, can you tell our viewers a little bit about your position here at the farm?
Yeah, so I work mostly down with the stallions. Right now we're in the midst of our breeding season. I take care of Ron Happy, Algorithms, and Demarchelier, one of our first year stallions here. I must say that they do have quite the personalities, each one of them. But Ron Happy, he's always got a special spot in my heart for him. So. And then these mares further down the line here, Mayonette in this second row. She is a half-sister to top stallion Dynaformer, who passed away several years back. She is also the mother or dam thereof U.S. Ranger, who was born and raised here. And then you have High Savannah here. Now High Savannah, she was bought carrying one of our top broodmares nowadays in Greenery, one of the first crops from Galileo, making her also the second dam of both Acre, one of our race horses, and Lee, one of our stallions down in our stud lot as well. And then in this first row here, we have Obey. Now Obey, she was the dam of Gopher Wan, who had unfortunate end to her racing career and life thereas. but she is most noted for being the dam of Gopher Wand. And buried next to her is Alluvial. Now Alluvial, she is the dam of both Coastal and Slew of Gold. So she was quite the broodmare in her own right. 2 top stallion prospects there, with Slew of Gold going on to his great racing career and stallion career thereafter. She was also the first dam of another stallion by the name of Coastal, who won the Belmont Stakes as well as the Haskell his 3-year-old year. And then another horse here from the Phipps family, Number to Count. Probably one of the most influential mares buried here in this cemetery. Her reach goes beyond just this farm here. It is on a truly global scale. Her family traces through top brood mares like Supercharger. We have Imagining in that female family as well. Along with that, Daydreaming, one of our current mares here on the farm. Sabbatical as well. So you have Super Saver, Bluegrass Cat, Girolamo, and also Run Happy as well, going through that family. And then buried alongside Number to Count is Number, who has no relation to her in other than the name sounding familiar. But Number here is a half-sister to Fairy Bridge and also Nureyev, one of the top stallions. She is out of the mare Special, who we'll see here momentarily. And alongside of her is Foreseer. And moving further down the line here, we have Relaxing. Now Relaxing, her most noted offspring is that of Easy Goer. Now her name kind of carried on to that easy goer, easy personality. Now she was bred to Alydar, producing Easy Goer there in the 1980s. And then you have Pure Profit here. Pure Profit, now she is the first dam of Inside Information, another Phipps family mare here in Pure Profit as well. And then turning the corner here, we'll go over to some of our other mares over on this side. Special, that mare I had mentioned before. Now Special, she has a very fitting name. She's one of my personal favorites here in this cemetery. Her female family shines through today through that of Blame, most noteworthy here on Claiborne's property. But she is also the dam of Fairy Bridge, who is the dam of Sadler's Wells, probably one of the most influential stallions this industry has ever seen. Sadler's Wells, of course, carried on to be the sire of Galileo, and his legacy is still being created to this day. Now, alongside of her is Con Game. Now, Con Game was a daughter of Buck Passer. Con Game was one of the mares that really cemented Buck Passer as a truly phenomenal broodmare sire in this industry. Con Game, she was bred to Mr. Prospector, producing Seeking the Gold, one of our finest stallions of the past several decades here at Claiborne. Now, Seeking the Gold, his legacy really carries through today, mostly through Dubai Millennium and his son Dubawi, another one of the top stallions in the world. And therefore, Demarchelier, one of our new stallions here at Claiborne, carries that Seeking the Gold bloodline through his pedigree as well. And then you have Banshee Breeze over here on the other side. Now, Banshee Breeze, she was a daughter of Unbridled. Unfortunately, she passed away shortly after her first foaling, but she does reside here on the property, as you can see. We buried her here thereafter. Now, behind Banshee Breeze, we have Pine Island. Now, Pine Island, she was a phenomenal racehorse, another Phipps family homebred here at Claiborne. She is the half-sister to stallion Point of Entry, who again is a son of Dynaformer. And then over here you have Dancing in My Dreams and Strike the Sky as well. Now, before we move on to our stallions, I do want to take a special moment to point out some of our former teaser stallions here as well. We like to honor all of our horses here with having a burial place here on the property. So both Chocolate and Boots, these are kind of some of our unsung heroes, if you will. We have currently several teaser stallions that reside here on the property, but we do like to make sure that every horse here has a resting place following their careers here on the farm. And now we'll go over to some of our stallions. of 400 days here on the property. Now, as you can see, these guys have quite the nice resting place. They have a finer view than most of us people do here in the world today. But this over here, this is our Marchmont side of the property. As you can see behind us, we have Marchmont 5 and Marchmont 4 with some of the mares and foals out in the fields right now. So it's a nice quiet property and resting place for a lot of these horses, but it's also a nice quiet place to grow up as well for many of these foals here on the property. But some of these headstones here, we have Danzig, a son of Northern Dancer. Again, probably needs no introduction for his successes both on the racetrack and even more so here as a breeding stallion. Now, when he first retired here, he had a very meager $5,000 stud fee, but that climbed to near $500,000 in the prime of his career. Now, he passed away about 14 years ago, but he's left quite the legacy with his son, Warfront, kind of carrying on that helm here today. And then next to him, you have Devil's Bag. Devil's Bag was champion 2-year-old colt in 1983. Now, he is a full sibling to both Glorious Song and also Saint Bellotto. Saint Bellotto as well had a great stallion career along with Devil's Bag as well. But Glorious Song, she also carried on that great stallion legacy, producing both Rahi and Singspiel, two top-notch stallions in their own right as well. And then alongside Devil's Bag here, we have Private Account. Now, Private Account was a son of the immortal Damascus, but he was the sire of both Inside Information and Personal Ensign here as well, along with several others. Now we'll make our way on up the row here. Here we have Conquistador Cielo. Now, he was a son of Mr. Prospector. Now, he won the 1982 Belmont Stakes. He was part of that string of phenomenal Belmont Stakes victories. And alongside of him, you have Unbridled. Unbridled, he won the 1990 Kentucky Derby and also the Breeders' Cup Classic that year as well as a 3-year-old, which it's not easy to do. Very few have accomplished that double because the horses usually have to be peaking at 2 times of the year. This year may be kind of a bit different with the Kentucky Derby being moved back to September this year, but it's quite difficult for a horse to be peaking at both spring and towards the end of the year in November as well. But to do that against older horses who are more veteran on the racetrack, it's a true testament to that horse's capabilities as a racehorse. Now, as good of a racehorse as Unbridled was, he's probably one of the most sought after stallion and broodmare sire lines in the industry today. He is the sire of Unbridled Song, who is therefore the sire of Arrogate, one of the world's richest racehorses to ever run. He is also the broodmare sire of our Kentucky Derby winner, Orb, who resides here on the property as well. And he is also the great-grandfather of Triple Crown winner American Pharoah. So his bloodline is still quite far-reaching today through both his sons and his daughters and their progeny thereafter. And then moving down the line here, we have Sir Ivor a few headstones down. Now, Sir Ivor, most of his success came over in Europe, but he was born here stateside over at Mill Ridge Farm here in Lexington, Kentucky. But Sir Ivor, he won both the 2000 Guineas and the Epsom Derby, which are 2 of the 3 Triple Crown races making up the European Triple Crown. Now, he had a son by the name of Sir Tristram, who went on to become a highly noted stallion down in both New Zealand and Australia, becoming the sire of 4 Melbourne Cup winners down there. And then alongside Sir Ivor, we have Damascus. Damascus, he is one of the true legends of the racetrack. Went on to be a good stallion for us here on the property as well. Now, Damascus, he won the Travers Stakes his 3-year-old year by 22 lengths. In the Woodward, where he ran against other highly noted stallions, Buck Passer and also Forgo as well. He won that race by roughly about 10 lengths. So he really cemented himself against some of the finest competition there on the racetrack during his career.
Someone asked what headstones we skipped past.
Yeah, so we had passed both Cox's Ridge here and Majestic Light. Majestic Light, he was a son of Majestic Prince, who also stood here in Lexington, Kentucky. And then Cox's Ridge here, he was one of our former stallions, residing down in the stud lot. He was had a rather phenomenal racing career, but when he retired here, as you can see, he carried on through his entire stallion career here at Claiborne. And then Easygoer. Easygoer, I had mentioned before, he was a son of Aladar out of the broodmare, relaxing here on the property. Grew up here as well. Unfortunately, he did pass away rather young at 8 years old, so unfortunately didn't have the longest of stallion careers for our stallions that we hope for here on the property.
Kyle, if you had to pick an all-time favorite broodmare and an all-time favorite stallion, who would it be?
So for an all-time favorite broodmare here on the property, it'd probably have to be Special for me. Just with the legacies she's left, both here on the farm with Blame and his sister Might, as well as on the global scale with her touching on the pedigrees of Galileo, Sadler's Wells, and countless others internationally as well. As far as stallions go here for Claiborne, probably that of Mr. Prospector. I know he's not buried in this cemetery, but him, again, with what he accomplished, starting his stallion career out down in Florida and meriting coming up here to Central Kentucky to become the stallion that he became here for the farm and for countless others as well, is truly phenomenal to have that kind of influence on the breed.
Kyle, someone asked what the headstones are made of.
The headstones here, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they are limestone for the most part, some of our older ones. Some of our newer headstones do look like they are a little bit more of concrete slabs. But here we have Topsider, one of our top stallions back in the day. He was a son of Northern Dancer. Next to him is 1971 Horse of the Year, champion sprinter, and older Horse of the Year as well in Ack. He went on to a phenomenal stallion career in his own right. Buried behind him, however, is Lure, one of the rather special horses for the farm here. He won back-to-back Breeders' Cup Mile races. Dell touched upon his stallion career last week, but he did have some trouble with fertility. He was able to have a few offspring, but not as many as near some of these other stallions here. And then buried alongside of him, we have Arch. Now, Arch, he's one of those horses that's just truly special for the farm here. He is the sire of one of the fan favorites here and one of our top stallions in Blame. He also has gone on to a phenomenal broodmare sire career as well, being the broodmare sire of top stallions like Uncle Mo over at Coolmore nowadays. But Arch is also the broodmare sire of I'll Have Another, that horse that nearly won the Triple Crown back in 2012. And then buried alongside of him we have Boundary. Boundary was another son of Danzig. Now Boundary was the last Kentucky Derby sire we had here when his son Big Brown won the 2008 Kentucky Derby and Preakness Stakes. He retired here due to fertility and lived out his days here just down the road here over at our Marchmont stud barn as well. And then Private Account, he had a son by the name of Private Terms here, and as you can see he's also stood in the same barn that his sire Private Account did as well, and he is also buried alongside him here in our cemetery as well.
Oh, there goes a foal in the background.
Yeah, some of our future stars out there romping around out in the big open grass.
And for those of you that asked, this tour will be uploaded to YouTube, so you guys can show it to all of your friends later that were commenting.
We had someone ask, I heard that Secretariat was buried a whole horse. What other ways do you bury them, and what determines how they are buried?
Yes, so I know for our stud lot down front, we have 3 different burial methods we've employed over the years. The earliest was the traditional head, heart, and hooves, which was seen as the mind, body, and spirit of all the great runners. Following the passing of Swale, we started doing full body burials. So roughly around 1984, they started doing the full body burials. And here, as of late, because of state law, we've had to do cremated burials. It's mostly because of disease control methods for the soils here in central Kentucky. So all of our burials since roughly around 2011, 2012 have all been through cremations. And then in this front row here, we have Drone. Now Drone, he went on to be a nice broodmare sire. He is the broodmare sire of Kentucky Derby winners, charismatic, and also grindstone as well. And then Forley here. Forley, he was an Argentinian champion 3-year-old in his native Argentina before retiring to his stallion career here at Claiborne, where he went on to sire that of Special. So he was a phenomenal broodmare sire in that regard. He was also the broodmare sire of Tuerta, well, the sire of Tuerta, I should say, the broodmare sire of Swale. And then alongside of him, Tom Rolfe. Now, it's kind of fitting having these two next to each other because I had mentioned before with File and Tuerta being half-sisters, these were their 2 fathers or sires, if you will. Tom Rolfe being the sire of File and the broodmare sire of 49er, and Forley being the broodmare sire of Swale, our Kentucky Derby winner of 1984. And then next to them we have Hawaii. Hawaii was an imported stallion from South Africa. He joined the ranks here. He also was mated to Special as well during his stallion career. And then there's a couple of larger headstones I want to show you folks down here. We had that of Sir Galahad, who was one of our early imported stallions here to the property. He was the sire of Triple Crown winner Gallant Fox, who won in 1930. Now our other kind of head slab, if you will, is that of Marguerite. Now Marguerite was mated to Sir Galahad several times throughout her broodmare career here on the property, making her the mother, or the dam, if you will, of Gallant Fox, along with Fighting Fox, Foxborough, along with several others, as you see here written on this headstone as well.
How someone asked if you're able to see this cemetery on our tours.
So unfortunately, with the location of this cemetery here, it's not the easiest to get to from our front office where we do most of our other stallion tours and also our mare and foal tours as well. So this is kind of a unique occasion for us here, is showing off this cemetery, because not many folks get to see this here. Thankfully, with it being recorded as it is, it can be uploaded off of YouTube, on Facebook, and also off of Instagram as well.
Kyle, thank you very much for spending some time with us this morning and showing everyone around. This is always a fan favorite in terms of our cemeteries. So we certainly appreciate you showing us around.
My pleasure. More than happy to show folks around. Enjoy talking about these mares and some of these stallions here as well. So glad everyone enjoyed it and appreciate the questions that helped us along here.
All right, good deal. Thanks so much, Kyle.
Thank you.